The socio-political economy, no doubt, provides solutions to verifying issues of economic growth and development, of national or global economic prosperity. This is why understanding how the economy works gives a better knowledge of how to approach issues that will bring about positive economic indicators. This we will try to do with our guests today. Hello, good to be here to host you to yet another episode of your weekly program Issues, coming to you from NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. Let's take a break. We will be back shortly. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, the extent to which a country has developed may be assessed by considering the consistent growth and commitment to financial economic policies, just as the Nigerian government is trying to achieve through numerous economic policies. We'll try to find answers to a lot of questions arising from financial monetary policies of government with a financial expert who will be our guest on conversation today. I am Ifoma Ojinta. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. And now with me in the studio to shed more light on this very important topic is Mr. Hafiz Ismaila. He is a financial expert. So you're welcome to our program Issues.
Thank you very much.
Now let's start by knowing, the significance of this cashless monetary policy to an economy like Nigeria.
Well, for me, I think what the Monetary Authority is trying to achieve is that they want to control cash transactions in Nigeria in terms of inflow and outflow, which will actually lead in preventing fraud and corruption. We should also have in the back of our mind that one of the goals of federal government administration led by President Mohamed Buhari is to fight corruption, and this will ensure proper monitoring in terms of cash inflow and outflow. That is one. Then number two, the cost of printing new notes is a cost to the federal government, and this will reduce it. And the amount being saved from printing additional notes into the Nigerian economy can actually be channeled to finance infrastructural deficits that we have in Nigeria as of today. Okay. And another thing again is that it will actually promote a high level of financial inclusion, in the sense that people will be forced to open a bank account now when they know that people can't transact with cash anymore and there's a cost attached to cash transaction.
Okay. So now, what does cash reservation ratio mean?
Cash reserve ratio is one of the tools being used to control liquidity in an economy. So what it means is that it's the minimum fraction of customer deposits by a commercial bank in which banks are obliged to keep neither in cash or as deposit with Central Bank of Nigeria. With the recently concluded monetary policy meeting from the communique, CBN still hold on the existing rate of 22.5%. And what this means is that if, for instance, today, let me say GTB Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, have 100 million naira deposits, customer deposits in their books, they have, based on this ratio of 22.5%, GTB have to keep 22.5% of that 100 million with CBN. That means that they can't trade with that money. They can't use to create an underlying asset, like probably to grant loan or put in fixed income investment. What they can actually use to trade will be the 100 million and the 20%, 20.5% minus 100%. So what is left, which is about 87.5%. That means that what they can trade with is 87.5% of the 100 million naira deposit they've accepted from customer. That is what they can actually use to create an underlying asset, either to create loans or to put in fixed income investment like treasury and others. So that is what. So it's a tool that CBN also use to control the flow of liquidity in an economy.
Okay, so it's good.
It's a good one. It depends on the direction of the economy. CBN has the mandate to control credit, the flow of credit in an economy, because they have to mandate interest rate and inflation. So it depends on their direction at every particular point in time that determine what percentage they need to put. For instance, now if they want more money to be in circulation, that means that they have to reduce that rate.
Okay.
To reduce that rate, that means that banks will have enough funds to play around with in the real to the real sector, both private or public sector of
Public
the
sector.
Nigerian economy. So it depends on the direction of
Okay.
CBN that will determine what rate did they need to hold at every particular point in time. So that is the reason why they sit every quarter of the year.
Okay. Now, as a financial expert, how
Yeah.
does this MPC, which is the Monetary
Monetary Policy
Policy
Committee.
Committee, and the CRR
Yeah.
affect inflation?
Okay. First of all, what is MPC? MPC is Monetary Policy Committee, which is being shared by this by the
CBN
governor,
governor.
by the CBN governor, and also we have the other deputy governors of CBN are also part of the committee. Then the two board of directors of the bank. Then the president will usually nominate three other people. Then the governor to also nominate, so that which there are about 11 in numbers.
Okay.
Their role, they have a constitutional role. The constitutional role is that they are responsible for the monetary and credit control in Nigeria. So that is the mandate that they have. So they meet every quarter to actually deliberate on the direction of Nigerian economy, majorly for to control interest rate and inflation. We also have the fiscal authority at their own end too as well.
Okay.
But their own basically they are the highest authority for banks in Nigeria to give direction, to give directive, to bring policy that will affect Nigerian economy.
Okay.
So that is what they are meant to do. So inflation is one of the things that eat us, like I said. So it now depends on which area. For instance, now in July, inflation was about 11.8% by the data released by MBS. But in August, I think it was about 11.02%.
Okay.
So their own role is to ensure how, for example, inflation can come to a single digit.
Okay.
So if there is more money in circulation, how can they absorb it? Or do they want to push money into circulation? That is why they have their policy and their instrument that they use, like open market operation, and what have you. Like the CRR now, the cash reserve ratio is also a tool. Like for example, there is one rate that at the end of the day, there is one rate that serves as a benchmark for lending, which we call MPR rate. Okay. As of today, it's 13.5%. That is the rate that serves as benchmark for lending in the Nigerian economy. Okay. So their own role is to actually coordinate the economy, ensure that there is smooth operation, sustain how credit can be deployed to stimulate investment in the Nigerian economy. So they have a role to be meeting every quarter of every year, and they are consist of 11 members. So one was just being concluded on Friday, which it was just being concluded on Friday.
Okay. Now I want to know, why is this cash policy driving, coming into full force now?
No, it has been in force power before now. It's just that it only applies on withdrawal. It doesn't apply on deposit. It was of recent when CBN issued a circular that for individual that is going to deposit cash in excess of 500,000, will be liable to pay a 3% interest. The 3% interest for corporate is, I think it's 5%.
Okay, yeah.
5%. So what that means is that it's not that they will pay 3% on 500,000, because that is what the public don't understand. They are not getting. What they are saying is that they will pay 3% on the excess of 500. If today you have deposited 600,000, the bank will only charge you 3% of 100,000, not 3% of 500,000. So I think that is the misconception in the general public today, which I think there should be more enlightenment to let people know. And the advantage of this thing is that it will control the flow, it will reduce theft. Because by you carrying cash, you are liable for robbers to attack you on the road. So people should be able to perform transaction online, and it will even drive the financial inclusion. People will be forced to open bank accounts, and I think that will go a long way for the Nigerian economy. Let's have this in the back of our mind that deposit cash is the inventory that the bank holds. That is what they trade with, and their primary role is to facilitate funds from the surplus unit of the economy, down to the deficit unit. We need funds to be deployed to the private sector to stimulate investment so that our economy can grow.
Okay.
And this will also curb corruption. It will prevent fraud. There will be proper monitoring. So it has which impact on the economy. The public are just saying it's a good one because we need to move at the pace that the world is moving. Okay. We can't just be backward. This is a digital world. It's not an analog word anymore again. So our orientation need to change. I think the public need to be enlightened. They need to be educated that this is the new direction in the global world now. Okay. Because I've seen a lot of reactions yes. About this. No, we need to move on. We need to step forward. Next level. We need to move on.
Okay, that's why we have somebody like you here to enlighten us. Now, just as you said, this issue, has generated a lot of, controversies. Yeah. People are reacting to it in different ways. Now, to this end, the CBN has said that it is not going back on the implementation of the cashless policy, while the House of Representatives is asking for suspension of the policy. Now, what does this portend for investor confidence?
No, let's have at the back of our mind that this rule, this policy that CBS said is their constitutional rule, which is enshrined in our constitution. So there's a constitution backing to it because they are the monetary authority. I think what National Assembly is saying is that CBN should consult stakeholders in this aspect. However, for investors, every rational investor is a learned person. So I'm sure they are aware that it is the role of CBN to do this. So I don't think it has any negative effect. Okay. Because there's a constitutional backing to it. It is what they are being asked to do. It is a responsibility. It is their responsibility, and they have to do it. And Nigeria should also have at the back of our mind that these people that bring out this policy to are also Nigerians like ourselves. So they are not just people that comes from. So whatever policy they bring also affects them. If it does not affect them directly, indirectly it will affect their own family members too as well. So it's not a matter of trying to witch hunt or trying to put hardship on Nigeria. We need to move on. We need to change our mindset.
Okay. Now, just as you've said, it is good we have this kind of policy and it has a lot of advantages. Will this policy also encourage, saving culture and how?
Yes, it's true. Because, for instance, now, if I have a car I used, and maybe I use a roadside mechanic to repair my car, and the guy serviced my car, and he wants me to pay, and I tell the guy, if you don't have a bank account, I'm sorry, I won't pay you. The guy will be obliged to go and open a bank account. Okay. And the moment he open a bank account, definitely it's a means of saving culture, because people now know that they don't need to carry cash all around. We see high level of theft going all around. You see when people comes to bank to withdraw cash on their way home, people will just rob them on the way. But now when you know that you just need to do your transaction online, nobody will follow you anymore again, except if you want to go and break a bank, which is very difficult. So it will surely promote saving culture because there will be drive for financial inclusion.
Okay. You are a financial expert and equally an investment specialist. Yes. What can you say about existing bank charges and how best, should it be approached?
Well, banks are in business to make money. Apologies to say that. Because they have infrastructure and something will have to pay back for it. So even though in Freetown, nothing is free. Okay. It's because your house is not safe. That is why you have to put your money, take your money to the bank for safekeeping. And banks need to, for their infrastructure they are being maintained, their maintenance, their costs they are running, something have to pay for it. We should try to understand. Although in terms of bank charges for Nigerians today, in comparison with what is obtainable in the global world, I think is a little bit higher. But if you look at it today, there are concessions. Or just at that concession, it is the corporate large, it's the corporate that enjoy it. The individuals don't really enjoy it. Then another thing that the public does not know is that there is what we call the CBN Guide to Bank Charges, which I know a lot of people are not even aware of. If you go to CBN websites, you will see it there. So even though if bank is overcharging you, we have what we call the Consumer Protection Department in CBN that you can actually report to. But the public are not aware of this. So when they see what the bank gives them, they accept. So there is bank charges, and I think that is ignorance. Apologies. People should be aware that if bank is charging you, you should be able to ask questions. Where is the policy document that guide that this is what I should be charged? Okay, for example, now account maintenance charges that will cost COT today. Everybody knows that it's 1 naira per mil, which means that for every 1,000 naira withdrawal you make, you pay 1 naira on it. There's a policy document to it. If you go to bank charges, it's there. If you take a loan from the bank, there are some charges that CBN allows, and this has been stipulated in this document. But public are not aware of it. So in terms of bank charges, I agreed. If you look comparing what is obtainable in the global world, I think I may be a little bit higher. But however, I know that banks give concessions to corporate companies that maybe individual are not really what enjoying it. But if you have your bank, if your bargaining power is strong, your banks can also give you concession. Bank is not a non-profit making organization. Nigeria should know that. However, I know we have what we call CBN guide to bank charges. When we go to CBN website, the document is there. Every charge is well spelled out.
Okay, now you talked about the advantages of the cashless policy, being that people can secure their money with online transactions, not having to carry large, sums of money around. But then, can we safely say that banks have done enough to secure customer saving, from cyber attacks?
We need to be honest. In terms of online transaction in Nigeria today, we are not there.
Okay.
That is just the typical truth. But however, I think I'm very confident. The current Minister of Communication today is a technocrat. That is, I think, Issa Pantami is a technocrat. If you check his profile and you've actually listened to him while he was doing his while he was being confirmed by the Nigerian Senate, I think he's a technocrat, and I think definitely he's going to bring his experience to bear in that particular ministry, and that will actually promote the IT village in Nigeria today. But the reality is that we are not there. Is the question, are we moving at the pace that the world is moving? We are not. So what we need to do is we just need to move at that space. Okay. But truly, there is a threat today in terms of IT. But it's just for us to now see that what can we bring on board to mitigate against this threat? Because do you have any policy infrastructure in place? What is National Assembly doing? What is CBN doing? What are the banks also doing in this aspect? So I think there is need for harmonization, collaboration, a synergy between the regulatory authority and the operator and National Assembly to see that what policy infrastructure can we bring on board to actually mitigate again. You can't eradicate, but we can mitigate at least to a bare minimum that will avert this.
Okay, don't you think that our cyberspace, should be protected before implementing the cashless policy?
When you bring policy, it's a process.
Okay.
Is when issue happens that you have experience, but it should not be issue that will create a huge damage. Like I said, it's a gradual process. So even though US that are there today, UK and co, they also pass through a process. So Nigerians need to be patient. We need to be more sincere to ensure that the right thing is being done. Okay, and the right people should be employed to this department. Is another thing too as well.
Okay, we will try to be patient, but let's take a break now. You are watching Issues on NTA Channel 5, Abuja, the Unity Station. Let's take a break now. We'll continue on the discussions shortly. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, if you've just joined us, the program is Issues on NTA Channel 5, Abuja, the Unity Station. And today we are looking at the CBN monetary cashless policy. And of course, I have with me a financial expert and investment specialist, Afiz Ismaila. Now, sir, before the break, we're talking about how Nigerians ought to be patient. Well, let me now ask you, what is your take on the Nigerian economic progression since coming out of recession?
You see, the first question is what led us to recession. Now, Nigerian economy today, we are a single product economy in the sense that there's only one product we rely on, which is oil. And oil is what that gives us 90% of our foreign exchange earning, which constitutes about 70% of government revenue. Back then in 2015-2016, there was a crash in the global oil price. And Nigeria is also an import-dependent nation. We don't produce. Everything is being imported. However, we're lucky that we're able to go out of recession, I think in the early 2018 or early 2018, was basically because of the policy being put in place, both the monetary and fiscal authorities. However, CBN is trying their best, bringing out intervention into some risk sector of the Nigerian economy, most especially the agricultural sector, because they see that sector as one sector that generate key input for other companies to thrive as well. And I think we are getting there, but CBN is because CBN has been trying to sustain the FX market today. CBN had to bring out a policy for what we call 41 items. I think there are 43 items now that are not valid for FX. What they are trying to do is they can actually encourage local production. So once there is local production, economic will strive, people will be engaged, activity will be created, people will be engaged, the economy will be fine. We are getting there gradually, but we still need to leave our consumption base and go to a production economy.
Okay.
So once we go to a production economy, everything will be fine. But then there is a need for diversification. And we're talking about this diversification right from time immemorial. We need to do a lot more. Because in Nigeria today, we do the talk, but we don't walk the talk. Okay. That is one of our problems. Policy should be, we need to bring out policy to ensure that we move away from oil. Because from history, then I was not being born, but I was told that far back in 1960, then what was sustaining Nigerian economy was agriculture. So why can't we just go back there? Okay. Because oil came, then we would now neglect that particular sector. So I think there's more work that needs to be done.
Let's digress a little. Now, what is your advice on taxation and revenue generation? Okay.
But for taxation, for me, increasing tax is not the problem. That is not what we should do. I think what federal revenue need to do is to how we can widen our tax base.
Okay.
That we can capture people in. For example, the roadside mechanic, the people that sell on the road. This is the same road I applied. It's the same road that my mechanic too also apply. I pay tax on my salary. Does he pay? No. I'll take my car to my mechanic to service at the end of the month. Maybe he charge me 10,000 service charge for his work. That's his own income. I'm paying that money for my own income that has already been taxed. But that his own 10,000 is not being taxed. And both of us are applying the same road. So what federal revenue need to do is to how they can widen the tax base. It's not increasing tax rate because that can kill businesses. It can kill businesses. So how can we increase the tax rate to ensure that we capture both the formal and the informal sector into that net? So I think that is what we really need to do. So what policies can they bring on board to ensure that we see for if CBN can achieve BVN, now that no BVN anywhere if you have open 10 account in 10 banks in Nigeria today, is the same information that will appear. They should also look for ways how they can also actually capture the informal sector too, so that everybody will be on the same page.
Okay.
That is what that can actually improve income generation, because there are a lot of people that are not being taxed. The money government will use to finance infrastructure that both of us will benefit from. So there's imbalance in that space.
How does this cashless policy affect the ordinary trader, the petty trader, the Fulani woman who's selling pepper, selling tomatoes and all whatnot?
That is why I said this policy will drive financial inclusion. People will be obliged to open a bank account.
Whether literate or non-literate?
They will be obliged to open a bank account. Every bank has a retail team, has a retail division, whereby they go into the market and open accounts for individuals. Once you open an account and I want to go and buy from a petty trader, the question I had, Mark, can you give me your bank account? I can transfer on my phone now. There's mobile banking. I don't need to go to the bank before I can transfer 20 or 10,000. Right on my phone. Every bank has the code that you just dial and you make your transfer. So if the paper seller has a bank account, you do transfer to his account, the transaction is concluded. So definitely the economy will be fine. So it will drive financial inclusion, which is key for Nigerian economy.
And what is your advice, as a financial expert, to policymakers and implementers, as well as Nigerians, as we all hope for a better economy?
I think what we need to do is, we're in a country where our expectation is more than the resources available. So we need to sit tight. Both the policymaker, both the Nigerian public and the public and people, the operators, we need to work hand in hand and see that we bring out things that will be beneficial for everyone, for us to achieve a common good. So it's not cast in stone. Definitely policy directive should be given in line with the current economic reality. You can't just keep doing things the way it has been done before now.
Yeah.
What I enjoyed when I was in primary school, It's not what the people of today that in primary school are also enjoying. So there is a change, and change is something that is constant. So we need to move on. So that is just the reality about it. So people orientation need to be changed. You know, another problem with Nigeria today is I think people are not being educated economically. So there's a need to be a proper orientation disseminated. That is where I think the Minister of Information to also worked on too as well. That and all key sectors of the Nigerian economy to see that how with any policies that come, how it is being disseminated to the point that even though a common person will understand what is going on and they will be aware. But what is creating all these issues that people don't even know the meaning. Like this cashless policy now, people feel no. People thought the 3% is on the 500,000. It's not on the 500,000. It's just on the excess amount that you deposit that will be charged.
All right, thank you. You want to say any other thing?
No, I think I'm fine, except for that people are clamoring on that. Why would they increase?
7 points.
7 points to 7 from 5% to 7.2%. On the positive side, government will have more money to channel into infrastructure. And that will on the negative inflation, less disposable income. So,
as a financial expert, what are you advising?
You know, VAT is a consumption tax. We have what we call VAT exempt on some certain medical, baby stores, and others, like about 4 or 5. Today, we have high level of infrastructural deficits. Power is not stable. Money is being needed to address all those challenges. People are clamoring for minimum wage. You can't increase your outflow without not increasing your inflow. What determines outflow is the level of your inflow. So that is why government also have to be creative in their space. The only thing that can take people out of poverty in Nigeria today is when they address infrastructure, because everybody will benefit, both the skilled and the unskilled.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you. You know, this very discussion has been quite educative and informative. Thank you very much, financial expert Hafiz Ismailite.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Same here.
One instructive message is that it's a gradual process, the cashless policy, and Nigerians ought to be patient, coming from a financial expert. But that's the much we have on issues for this week. We thank you for always being there. See you next week when we dissect another trending issue. Bye for now.